Meet Nigeria's new art sensation, Olumide Oreshegun. He calls himself a hyper-realist painter, and you only need to take a glance at his works to understand why. They are stunningly hyper-realistic. You would think they are photographs until you take a very detailed and deliberate look. Here's one very good example. It's an oil painting of a young girl who is just taking a bath with the water bubbles clearly visible and looking very real. Everything about the painting looks very lifelike. It's difficult to believe it's not. How about this one? 5 kids in a riverine community playing in the river with a wooden boat sitting next to them. All the elements blending seamlessly to create a hyper-realistic image with a 3D effect. And then this one of another young girl having a shower in what looks like a makeshift jacuzzi. The translucent effect created by the water gives the painting a feel and look of hyper-reality.
Works, I started as an impressionist artist, down to realist artist, now to hyper-realist artist. So it's something like a project in process. So whenever I want to start anything, I try to let people feel the lifelike of that object, as if they can easily touch it and talk to those are the things that is in my mind whenever I'm trying to work anything. So anytime I do something like and it doesn't really surprise me because I've already put down behind me that this is what we're going to achieve. So if I now achieve it, I'm now fulfilled. So if I want to achieve it, I won't stop, I won't sign with the work.
Olumide began painting at a very early age, long before he went to the famous Yaba College of Technology in Lagos to pursue a higher national diploma in fine art. He only set out as a professional artist 8 years ago, but his works hardly give that impression. Water and children are consistent themes in his work. He says there's a reason for it.
Water, for instance, is a very difficult subject to treat and to manipulate with the medium I use. So it's like a challenge. I try to challenge myself to do something that's very difficult. So I believe if I do something, if I can achieve something that is very difficult, it gives me an edge. And also, I try to make sure I work with children because those are the things that I've seen in my surrounding. I play with children a lot, and I realized that if I didn't do something that is my surrounding, it would be difficult for me to approach outside.
In just a few weeks of posting some of his works on Instagram, Olumide now has well over 30,000 followers. The works have been shared several times over, and some people are already describing him as a Leonardo da Vinci of Nigeria.
People comparing my work with Leonardo da Vinci is a good avenue for me and a plus for me at the same time, because those are the people that we read about while in school, and up to now we are still reading about them. We are still reading about what they've achieved. So I'm hoping to have even achieved more than what he has done. So that is where I'm going right now. So I'm not just limiting myself to what Da Vinci have done or what he has achieved. I want to surpass him and more other artists that are in his own contemporary.
It might sound like a tall dream, but Olumide is a very determined artist who continues to push himself to the limits to churn out hyper-realistic paintings from his small studio in this remote corner of Lagos. Deji Badmos, CCTV, Lagos.
I'll carry it for you.
Study only one subject thoroughly, like every single thing that needs to be learned about that subject. So for example, BTech Art, there I did textiles, I did sculpture, I did, what else was there? Surrealism. There was like a bunch of stuff we learned there. And that's when, you know, I'd say that's where I found my art style more, because that's when I did my first kitenge piece, when we were asked to make African textiles. So I thought, what goes with that? Like, what if someone saw an art piece, what would shout Africa more? You know, first I was like lions, then I was like maybe, yeah, but not really. So then I thought fabric, you know, kitenge. So I used kitenge in the lion piece. I cut out, you know, different shapes. From a distance, you can't really see the shapes, but upon like close investigation, like you can see really small cuts of, you know, just wavy patterns and all that. So I did that, and it turned out a lot of people liked it. And then that's when my mom found, she was reading the newspaper one day and found a small section, an advertisement for this art gallery at Dusit. And she came home and she's like, "Tom, this is really great. They exhibit art, and you know, this would be a good opportunity for you." So I thought, "Mom, no, I'm not professional yet. I can't just exhibit just randomly." The genre of art I do falls under, I would say, is like a mixture of a number of art styles and genres, like hyper-realism because it's 3D and it looks realistic, but it's also 2D, not two-dimensional, but it's, I would call it abstract, because when you glue the fabric onto the canvas, it doesn't have that 3D form, so it ends up, it's like a mixture of 2D and 3D. You know how you spark rocks together to create a spark, and then it causes a fire? I feel like my dad were those rocks, because I remember as a child I would always ask my dad to do small little sketches for me. I'd be like, Dad, please draw me a flower, or please draw me a face. And you know, because my dad is artistic as well, he would go an extra step and add details to, for example, if he was going to draw me, he would add the shading and the shadows, and I'd be like, "Dad, how do you know where to put the shadows?" And he's like, "You'll just know, you know." And it used to bug me when I was a kid, because I'm like, how do you just know? Where do you know the shadows fall? But anyway, my dad has always been a great influence, because he has an artist's mind, so he can understand what I'm looking for or what I'm trying to express through a painting. And every single time I do an art piece, my dad is the first person I go to for any form of critique. My art ranges between 50K and 300K, although it depends on the content and the size of the art piece and how much time was put into it. I remember my first art piece was sold at the Dusit exhibition, and I just remember the moment feeling very surreal, because I didn't expect someone to offer me such a large amount of money for something so small. Not so small really, but I just remember feeling I was taken aback, because the first painting I did, while I was doing that painting, it was kind of a commissioned piece. The curator, because I showed him the art piece during the previous exhibition, I couldn't sell it to him, but I told him I could do a replica of that painting and then sell it to him, and he was like, "Great, awesome." And I just remember him offering me a sum of money, and me thinking, it hadn't, like, you know how something takes a while to register in your brain? Like when I got home, I was like, oh my God, he just offered me that amount of money, and some artist that had seen the same piece said, oh, it should go for this large amount of money, or this, you know, so anyway, that was my first sale. I remember my first negotiation was the worst negotiation ever, because I was saying I was going to sell it for 25,000, but he came up to me and he was like, "You're selling it for 25,000?" And I was like, "Yes." And then he said, "Give it to me for 20." And then I was like, "Okay." Like, I just said, "Okay," flat, because I was like, is that a bad price? Was it, you know, I just remember being very confused. So I just said yes. And then he looked at me like, this girl, honestly, she's gonna be conned so badly because she can't, you know. So we talked some more and we negotiated for 22. And I remember he just paid up front, and that was the first time I had held a $100 bill. I just remember looking at it and thinking, I could get so much food with this. You know,